Okay, so I literally just left out seeing Captain America, and let's just start off with the criticisms that you'll commonly see online right now, and I'm going to see if there's some validity to it. I did drop a video before this saying, guys, look, form your own opinion. Stop waiting around to see, hey guys, do we like this one? Do we like this one? Do we accept this Marvel movie, or do we hate it? Are we trashing this one? Is this part of the trash collection for the memes? Stop. Form your own opinions, because these critics, they don't have any type of validity to what they do. I want you to take your top 3 movies, or MCU movies, go look up what Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and the Google users have to say about it, and look at the bad reviews and realize Rotten Tomatoes doesn't have some of your favorite movies high, and then go look up some of your worst movies you thought was trash and look at what they have it ranked. There is no criteria to being a good critic. There is none. It's not like these are just all former film directors and script writers. It's not like they're like certified electricians with something or years of experience. They're just movie watchers. They're just people, right, that go in your McDonald's line and etc. But let's just address criticisms of the movie. One criticism I seen going in, and I want to neutral out my mindset, not to be too high, not to be too low. I also want to block out any fourth wall circumstances surrounding the movie, like, oh, the reshoots, or I heard somebody else didn't like it. I black that out, because the same thing happened with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. There was a lot of like too much stuff surrounding it and circumstances why people were trying to hate it, even though they gave you a good product. And then when all the time passed and none of it was relevant anymore, when they put Andrew Garfield back on the screen, which Marvel had no problem doing because they know Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a good product itself, people loved it. People were like, oh yeah, man, I do just love his take on Peter Parker. And I remember seeing videos just hating. It was just stupid reasons, like, oh, he was too cool for Peter Parker. This is one of the problems. Electro looked kind of weird. And now we have even weirder looking characters are accepted, and Peter Parker being too cool, that's his take on the character. What are you talking about? He got his powers. But anyway, and then you see the same thing with the Incredible Hulk. We wanted to hate the Hulk in the past. I'm old enough to remember the criticisms of the movie. And then next thing you know, now that you got this Hulk, you go look at those comment sections of like the action scenes from that movie, or like clips from that movie, or like, this was a real Hulk, or this was so good, an underrated film. And it's like, brother, it was always good. You have to stop letting circumstances affect your view of the movie and form your own opinion. Stop waiting around for, hey guys, do we like this one? Do we not like this one? Do we hate this one? Do we hate this one? Or we're going to call this the bomb? We're going to call this the bomb? Because it's not. And then like you have projects that come out just okay or just decent, and you guys are just so wanting to be on the it's terrible or it's good. Let's get to the main criticisms. One I seen was like, it felt too much like the TV show Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know how you feel TV show like, besides being slow, which the movie is good. The pacing of the movie is fine. There's no, how do you feel like the TV show you just made that has the exact same characters put into a movie? It makes no sense. And even if it was, how is that a criticism? What does that mean? You felt too TV showing like, okay, if it was a good TV show, is that bad? But anyway, I also seen like some dude said like, Jakeem Torres, he tried too hard to be funny. And it's like, no. I went in and I mean, it was just like regular dialogue lines. Like the character was like actively acknowledging, like it was just pick me up lines. And it's just his character. It's more of just like in conversation, dude, bro. Like you talk to your homies, being funny, and just casual talk, just being sarcastic more than anything, trying to be funny, like create a moment. Like if it was Thor Love and Thunder humor, right? Or Thor Ragnarok humor, like trying to force silly humor. But it's more just like, that's his personality, and it was like regular, it flowed, like it wasn't forced. He didn't have any dragged out dialogue or like trying to make himself an oblivious idiot. No. So, and then he barely had any lines in the movie. The kid may have had like 15 total lines in the movie. So to say it was forced or you just wanted to get on with the scene was really silly. I didn't see that at all. He barely was. He hardly was in the movie if you go watch it. Then again, another criticism I seen was it felt more like an Incredible Hulk sequel. Yeah, the story was mainly based on the Incredible Hulk stuff, but it makes no sense of a criticism considering this is the MCU. Every storyline is from the previous movie. It felt like an MCU storyline sequel. Remember, there was always criticisms or people going in on the MCU about, oh, it doesn't connect, and all these post-credit scenes that don't pay off, and there's no overarching story, there's no connecting, and blah, 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 blah. And now you get it. You have people who just trying to find reasons to hate it and say, well, it's not more Captain America. It's more like an Incredible Hulk sequel. Even though Captain America Civil War is more like an Avengers 2.0 and Iron Man 4 as well, you can have that same criticism, but you love the movie, right? Silly. And then combined with I seen criticism of like one criticism I seen, which actually I'll put some validity to, like this, it was very self-contained, trying to be blockbuster and self-contained at the same time is a weird mix. I love how Civil War, like Infinity War, picked up right after it with the team being split. Like Civil War had big implications, but this one there is no like prolonged implications or things you have to pick up off of that change the dynamic and landscape. Everything kind of went back fine, and you really didn't even need this movie because it didn't really like alter anything in the MCU too much. You would think it would, considering you put a giant celestial Tiamat out and the world was fighting over the new adamantium being introduced to MCU, that you would have something. But I guess the writers were scared to do too much to it, which is a real criticism. But the story was fine. Almost every scene, they were actively trying to solve something or try to get into something or being a part of the story. Just like it reminded me of the newest Batman remake. It was constantly solving and just what is going on and being dialogue about the story, which I loved, and just passive storytelling, people waiting around doing nothing. And then another criticism I seen was, and then this guy, like, this is how I know it's like forced, because then I hear a guy say, well, they spent a lot of time in the movie like, hey, what's going on? Like, we don't already know that he's going to turn to Red Hulk, or Isaiah Bradley's doing this because he's brainwashed. The Red Hulk thing, I do agree. This is one thing I'm going to get to a little later. But to say like, oh, they were still trying to find out who was getting brainwashed, no. Within 15-20 minutes of the movie, it was already referenced that, yeah, something was going on and that this wasn't just like an attack of people just doing crazy things. It was addressed 15-20 minutes within the movie that it was brainwashing. So I do not know what that was all about. It was really silly. Performances, acting, Anthony Mackie did very well. Isaiah Bradley, who I thought was a little cringe in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm not gonna lie, or Captain America, whatever they want to call it. It was I thought his performance was a little cringe then, but in this one, wow, man, not that he was really good. Wow, he was really good. Like I can see why some of the positives were like Thunderbolt Ross's Thunderbolt Ross was really good. Isaiah Bradley was really good. Cap was really good. We really didn't need the Black Widow agent. Some of these characters you didn't just need, and then it did get a little, at certain points it was like, what's going on, like what the heck, but it was never like overwhelmingly terribly distracting you from the movie. If you go into the movie distracted with all the thoughts on your mind, you're not going to let yourself be immersed in the movie. You have to let yourself be immersed and put in there and put in the MCU and put in like the going stakes, right? And the movie did fine taking itself serious, and it made you take it serious a little bit more, without having to be the end of the world to take it serious. Red Hulk, man, wow. And so New Rockstar's made a point. He said, I wonder if we kept Red Hulk, well, I know if we kept Red Hulk under wraps, would that have done better for the movie? Yeah, because Marvel movies are built on some big shock value, especially as of lately with the Multiverse Saga. So, man, it would have been very much an amplifier to leave Red Hulk hidden and not implicate he was in the movie beforehand. It would have been a huge shock. People would have left the theaters like, oh, man, you got to see this. You're going to see some shit. Because shock value is now like part of the MCU. And especially with the recent run on cameos, it's just what it is. You need to have some shock value, whether it be Cap and Endgame picking up the hammer or something, some type of payoff. And one thing I can say for sure, Red Hulk being hidden away would have definitely done this movie a little bit more justice. But at the end of the day, they use it for the marketing campaign. I don't think you need to. If you did wanted it to attract people to audiences, the most important thing that's going to attract people to audiences is good reviews early. Because a lot of people are too scared to form their own opinion. And like I said, in the MCU, this is the stage we're at, where people are just waiting like, oh, we're hit or miss, hit or miss, hit or miss, instead of being immersed in the story. And trust me, guys, I know before the MCU was considered hit or miss, I was saying like, this Spider-Man project wasn't that great, or Eternals wasn't good, or this wasn't really that good, or that was kind of cheesy. So, I was like, oh, you guys are just gassing because of the MCU. But guys, relax. Go to the movies. Form your opinion yourself. I want you to take the 3 movies you like, search them up, see what critics got to say to it, and realize that, dude, you can't value everybody else's opinions. A critic has no boundaries or no lines or no criteria to be any more valid on their opinion than you do, right? It's not like these are chefs or world-renowned movie makers, right? These are just regular people. Stop waiting around for the opinion. Are you going to enjoy what you're doing or not? Captain America was solid. With 5 being average, I had Deadpool and Wolverine like a 9.999 out of 10. It was not close to Deadpool and Wolverine, but it was not close to bad either. It was an enjoyable one. It'll work. It worked. I'll give it a 7. Captain America was slightly above average. I'll give it a 7. And it was nice to see that Shield back in action. It was nice to see some MCU style action. It was really good. It's got some replay value. I do feel like they could have cut the first 15 minutes of the movie and did a little something else with that runtime. But it was good. And I did not like the post-credit. I felt like it was a loose way to try to connect on what's going on. It was kind of cornball, but Captain America's all right. Go see it. It was definitely worth watching. It was definitely worth seeing the Hulk.